Alrighty boys, welcome back to another step-by-step video. Now today's video is going to be on Amaru. Now a lot of people tend to think Amaru is kind of like a useless operator, but I kind of disagree with that mindset, and the reason why is because Amaru actually has potential to be like one of the most competitive operators in this game. And the reason for that is not because you're able to rush the enemy team very quickly, but it's more so being able to take space very quickly. So in this first clip, what I ended up doing is I rappelled into the gym window for the cache bomb site here. And long story short, the idea with this is that I'm basically just going to be lurking on this side of the map. Now, for context, I actually did get audio of somebody being over on this side of the map when I rappelled into that window. And I started walking down this hallway. So that's why I kind of am holding back in this position. However, since there is a roamer close by to my position, he has to deal with me. But since I do know about him being in his current position, I'm basically a nuisance to him, if that makes sense. So eventually he's going to end up exposing himself here. Right now all I'm really doing is just baiting out my drone audio, if that makes sense, to try to get this guy to swing me. And long story short, he ends up swinging me aggressively here because I drive my drone into him and then I back it out. He ends up chasing to try to look for the swing onto me, and I get myself a free kill. And then right here, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do a little fancy trick for you guys here where we're going to wallbang the con wall for the head glitch. Typically, when you get a kill on one of the enemy players, there's going to always be a teammate that looks for a refrag. And since the enemy team did have numbers alive, like pretty healthy numbers alive, 5v4 position, there was a really good chance that somebody would rotate into con and play that specific spot because it's a nice little head glitch. Now, once I get that kill, we do end up finding ourselves into a 4v1 position. The last guy actually killed one of my teammates bottom garage, so we're going to rotate down red stairs. This guy's running over to bar. I assume he was going to bait out the rest of this round, so we end up shooting him in the back to secure the round. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I do think that Amaru has a lot of potential for, like, repelling into an area to map very quickly and then just holding that space. However, I do feel like you shouldn't underestimate the fact of her rushing power. Excuse me. Because, long story short, the idea is that, like, if the enemy team is taking a very long time to prep, what you can actually do is use that Amaru to actually rush positions that the enemy team is not ready for you to be rushing, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, here, the enemy team, there's going to be one guy rotating over to theater in this position, but he's not playing my top white. I have a drone preset for type white. I'm going to go ahead and just rappel on into the window here. I know he ran into theater in this position. Now, it's really important to note that since he ran into theater, it's very likely that he should know that I'm in this position, if that makes sense. So I'm taking it very slow and steady, clearing out all the angles for theater here. I don't see them, so that must mean he was inside a penthouse when I rappelled into that window right there and took the space. So I'm going to go and rotate onto 90 here, and all we're going to do now is we're just going to bait. We're just going to hold this position. We're going to lock it down. We're going to wait for this Jaeger to create a little bit of audio, and then we're going to look to get ourselves a free kill onto him. I'm going to end up hearing him on theater here. He's going to end up rotating right into me, so I'm going to get myself an easy kill. Now, directly after getting that kill, I actually get audio of another guy inside a VIP, so I'm going to go ahead and hold him aggressively. Me and my other teammate are going to hold a crossfire onto him and get ourselves a free kill onto the smoke in this position. And then now, we're in a nice 5v3 position here. I'm going to go ahead and look towards main because I get audio that somebody's trying to walk up to hit a flank on me. Get a free kill onto him, putting us into a nice 5v2. One guy's inside a luggage trying to look for the refrag. I'm going to go ahead and swing aggressively, get a free kill on the Valk in this position, and then we're going to go ahead and start rotating into Aqua here. It's a 5v1 position, so everybody's just going to look to flood. I like to peek for the head holes here in this position though, and I end up getting myself a free kill onto the Vigil there on the cover cross while my ace was trying to go for the plant. But to keep this ball rolling here, guys, we're going to go ahead and talk about the next major thing that you guys want to be doing when you are playing Amaru. Now, there is a world, like I said, where you take advantage of Amaru's rush potential, and I do think that world actually comes into the form of doing rush plants as well as not just rushing into a position to try to take gunfights early on a team that's not ready for it. But long story short, the idea is that Amaru takes a diffuser. You have your teammates if you're in a stack. Currently, I'm going to be in a stack in this clip on console here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to go, all of our teammates are going to go outside of the console window here. And then the general idea here is that once all my teammates are ready to go, I'm going to rappel into this window. They're going to ying, they're going to cap it out, they're going to do whatever they got to do to basically distract the enemy team, make it really hard for them to walk up on me. I'm just going to let them get prepped onto the window here. I'm going to go ahead and rappel in right here, and then we're going to go ahead and just start hitting a plant right away. Now, these guys do actually have feet holes in this position, but one of my other teammates confirmed that there was nobody underneath in this position, so we're in good shape. We're going to go ahead and get the plant down here with the Ying and the Capital Fire going off, and then now all we got to do is just prevent the enemy team from actually jumping out on us and getting us off of the window repels in this position. Now, one thing I am making a mistake of in this current round is I'm actually playing aggressively for this window. It doesn't really matter since it's a 5v2, 4v2. It's going to turn into a 3v2 position here in a second. But there's basically going to be a Legion that's going to be able to swing aggressively here. He's going to end up actually challenging me aggressively. I'm going to swing aggressively like a psychopath, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get the kill, putting us into a 2v1 position. That could have went more poorly if my teammates inside of sight ended up losing their gunfights. So I highly recommend to always play your life in these type of positions when you are playing for the plant, basically, or the rush plant. Now, this next clip is actually going to be taking place over on Chalet. Now, this is going to be a more specific thing for Amaru. However, you could technically do this with any operator. However, this is going to be a play that's going to mostly be good with Amaru, in my eyes at least. I do think that if you want to be more useful later on in the round, you would use a different operator, maybe like Ash or... you know what I mean? Some kind of other operator that could also rush quickly in this position. But long story short, the idea is we're going to rush the mud window. And the idea is that we're going to try to walk up blue stairs. Now, the thing with this is that we're looking to walk up blue stairs early on in the round to look for anybody potentially playing top mez or top blue and try to look for early kills onto them. What's going to end up happening is people are going to challenge me through the head holes here. I get spotted by the camera, so I know they're going to peek me from there. And then another guy's going to end up challenging me once again. I'm going to get another free kill right there, putting us into a nice 5v3 position, and that's kind of the idea when it comes to Amaru, is that with you coming and taking space very quickly, is that you're trying to look for those early picks, or even like if your whole goal is to take one like specific space, a lot of the times the picks will come just from taking that space in general, if that makes sense. Like blue stairs on that map is very, very powerful. A lot of people you'll see in like a competitive setting will have people playing top mez, and then usually we'll have someone playing blue. So sometimes if you prep a drone for blue walk up in that position, you could actually walk up there from Amaru or just any other op and potentially get yourself an early freebie if you get a nice drone on somebody for that, and have somebody basically walk in. Now, this next clip we're going to be over on Theme Park, and the one thing I do want to clarify with this clip is that I want you guys to understand is that Amaru is not completely as useless as people think she is. She does have the hard breaches as well, which makes her technically an alternative operator when it comes to doing meta pushes. So for example, on this map we're going to be attacking the armory drone bomb site, and long story short, my goal was to take bunks, open up the hatch for the split hallway, and basically just be a nuisance from up top here with Amaru. That was going to be my whole goal, was just opening up this hatch, clearing out a little bit of vertical, droning out a little bit of vertical, roam clearing. That was going to be the idea. Now, there wasn't going to be actually anybody really roaming in this position, so I ended up just go ahead and getting open the hatch. My teammates are going to open up the walls. We're going to peek down the hatch, get ourselves a free kill on a mute, and then now we're in a nice 4v3 position. Unfortunately, our Monty did die here, so our walk-in pressure is very weak in this position. However, what is going to end up happening here soon is my teammates are going to go ahead and swing aggressively into sight, which is going to basically open up to allow me to drop as well. Now, what is going to end up happening here is that one of my teammates did get injured on the split doorway in this position, which actually ends up telling me in this position that when I drop, I have to make a decision. Do I want to look at armory or do I want to look at throne when I do end up dropping? Because if I look at the wrong spot, what's going to end up happening is I'm most likely going to get shot in the back. So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to figure out who's more likely to be looking at me in this position. Now, in this position, it's hard to figure it out, but the most likely person to actually look at me as soon as I drop at this hatch is going to actually be the throne guy. And the reason why is because the throne guy has an angle onto the split doorway. So that means if he takes a couple side steps over, he's going to most likely be able to see me as soon as I drop. So right here, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to go ahead and start looking to drop. My teammate's going to flash for armory here, which is fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and get ready for my drop here because I'm going to see my teammates are inside of sight. We're going to drop. We're going to hold across here. The last guy, like I said, is going to most likely peek from the armory throne. So we're going to go ahead and swing aggressively. He's going to swing into me. So I'm going to get myself a nice free kill right there to secure the round. Now, next up in this next clip, we're going to be attacking the cafe basement. Now, I repel into the white window here. And the reason why I do that is because I feel like white window is a nice little, like, in between the second floor and the third floor on this map. Because long story short, what ends up happening is when you repel into that window, you can get audio of people being up top for you, or they can be on the bottom section of you for like reading, or white hallway for the third floor, or cocktail. You know what I mean? You can get a lot of audio all at once the moment you repel into that window. So I feel like it's an overall nice window to repel in like early on in the round. It's very unlikely also if if the enemy team is going to be roaming, they're going to even be able to hear you repel into that window as well, which I do think is also another benefit. Now, what's going to end up happening here is that there actually isn't going to be anybody roaming for context in this round for the second or third floor in this position. So what I'm going to do is what any other Amaru main is going to do in this position. We're going to go ahead and walk down the red staircase here and look for any potential free kills. Now what's going to end up happening is the enemy team doesn't know that we repelled in upstairs, right? So we should be able to walk down here and be able to get ourselves an easy kill, which we do end up getting right there on a mute that was playing aggressively inside of Harry Potter for red. Now I do get audio of somebody being in the closet close onto my red stairs here, so I'm going to whip up my drone, hold my space, get on my drone, see that there's a castle playing inside of the closet here. However, this guy can't swing in because my Deimos exists. However, my Deimos does rotate away from the hallway, which opens up the swing, so I expect that to happen, so I swing aggressively to get myself a free kill. We end up dying, but that's okay because our teammates get the refrags, but hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to like and subscribe.